Riding app. I admit I'm not the best at riding, but hey. I'm still pretty good at this, teardowns. The price of the CFMOTO 1000 MTS is actually quite a pleasant surprise. It's lower than I expected. The battery compartment is located here. It uses a saddle-style fuel tank. This section right here is the air filter. In the rear section, besides the rear mudguard, you can't really see anything else. This is the OBD interface for vehicle. Diagnostics, just open the seat cushion. No need to disassemble anything else. There's an ACC power outlet here. It's convenient for adding aftermarket accessories later. This is a very thoughtful design. When modifying electronics, the biggest taboo is splicing wires. 2 clips are all it takes to open the battery compartment. Below the battery is the fuse box. On the back is the ECU. The layout is quite neat and organized. On motorcycles with saddle tank designs, the batteries are usually placed right here. I've disassembled the 800 MT-X before, and the position is exactly the same. Let's check the stock battery specs. 12V 11.2 Ah. Lead acid. I feel like this battery's dimensions are identical to my Li-Young lithium battery. Let's try to fit it in. It fits perfectly, just a bit shorter. If it's too short, we can add some foam padding. This button shows the capacity and voltage. It's fully charged at 13.3 V. For the same volume, a lithium battery is much lighter than a lead-acid one. The model of this Li-Young battery is LP12. If you CFMOTO owners want to install high-power spotlights and worry about lead-acid battery life on long trips, or have trouble starting in cold weather, you can try this Li-Young LP12. Of course, there are other models. The LP12 has an energy capacity of 51.2 Wh. The cold cranking amps, CCA, can reach 280 A. The fairings of the 1000 MT-S are very easy to remove. It only takes 3 screws per side to take off the entire side panel. This is very friendly for both mechanics and owners. Let's look at the plastic material of the side panel. This is PA6 plus GF15. Over here is PP plus EPDM plus TD10. CFMOTO is quite meticulous about the application of plastics. Most motorcycle plastics usually aren't reinforced. The basic ones use PP. The toughened ones use ABS. Also, look over here. Its fairing clip system is the same as a car's bumper. This way, in case of a crash, you don't need to replace a huge section of the fairing assembly, because these clip brackets are removable and replaceable. Maintenance costs are low. After all, the 1000 MT-S is a hardcore ADV. It's designed for off-roading. Dropping the bike off-road is totally normal. So this design deserves a thumbs up. For us riders, it saves both money and labor. Effective results. Applying automotive plastic mounting structures to motorcycles, CFMOTO engineers are really on it. The blinker relay is located right here, in this spot. As a 1000 MT-S owner, you should remember this location. If it ever breaks down, You only need to remove this panel to change the relay. Removing the fuel tank cap is easy. The goal is to drop the engine. What I'm removing now is the body control module, BCM. It's not just a fuse box. It acts as the gateway for vehicle data. Now I'm removing the skid plate. The skid plate consists of 3 pieces. Let me show you. The middle section is made of aluminum alloy. The side plastics don't have material markings. Next, let's check the ABS version. Just as CFMOTO advertised, it's the Bosch 9.0. Regarding the fuel tank, it's a saddle-style tank. The advantage is a low center of gravity, which improves vehicle stability and handling. It's also better for standing up while riding. Now we can see the ABS pump. Let's check the brand. The logo is really faint, but it's a Bosch ABS pump. The Bosch logo is right here. Check the nameplate. The manufacturer is CFMOTO KTM R2R. It's the same manufacturer as the CFMOTO 800 series. But for the 675 and 450, they are manufactured by CFMOTO Power. The thing above it is the 6-axis sensor. The IMU. It's a high-precision unit. CFMOTO says it's Bosch. So let's open it and verify. The electronic controls for this 1000 MTS were calibrated by the KTM team over many kilometers. You should really experience the electronics yourself. The 6-axis sensor is indeed from Bosch. The cooling fans are from Panasonic. Both of them are. Let's check the braking system while we're at it. The rear brake master cylinder is J.1. The caliper is Brembo. It uses braided steel lines. Front calipers and master cylinder are all Brembo. Look closely at these 3 calipers. Some electric bike guys are eyeing these already. Also, the front steel lines. Many netizens say this is illogical because it's too long. Actually, it's supposed to be like this. 1. It's a hardcore ADV primarily for off-roading. When the suspension jumps, it needs room to move. Another reason is to leave extra slack for users who upgrade the shocks. To thank the Nanjing CFMOTO dealership for providing this test bike. Well, you guys call it a test ride. I call it a test teardown. I'll swap in this limited edition Brembo caliper for them. Ultra thin and ultra light, only as thick as a piece of A4 paper. Instant stop at 200 km per hour Laoxing collab. Special edition. Nanjing CFMOTO. Don't ask me for money. Let's just trade one for one. I'll take the loss on this one. Then there's this heavy-duty chain. It's a Choho 525 VZ chain. The VZ series isn't even on the retail market yet, but CFMOTO is already using it. The VZ is currently Choho's highest spec. This chain isn't cheap. The sprockets are also from Choho. When this VZ chain is released, let's see what the retail price will be. Over here is the T-box. Those smartphone connectivity features. I'll rely on this. It's the Internet of Vehicles part. This 1000 radiator feels quite large. The 2 cooling fans above it. I just mentioned, are Panasonic. 800K owners will be jealous seeing this radiator. Why does it come with a built-in guard? And it even has air ducts. It blocks debris without affecting cooling efficiency. When can 800K owners get this? Still waiting. Also, these exhaust bolts. As an 800K owner, I'm quite salty about this. Why did you give him copper ones? I'm taking these copper nuts for myself. If the Nanjing dealer has a problem, go talk to CFMOTO, don't look for me. Don't underestimate these copper nuts. Mechanics know exhaust bolts can seize up. Then you can't get them off. Copper nuts prevent this and won't easily shake loose. Plus, they're more heat and corrosion resistant. I'm pocketing them. If you still have a problem with it, I'll give you back a horn when I return the bike. Let's look at the oxygen sensor. It's also from Bosch. Oh right, let's look at the rear shock. It's a fully adjustable KYB shock. The front is a KYB inverted 48mm fork. Tires are Pirelli Scorpion front and back. Alright, the engine is ready to be pulled. Specifically, for this CFMOTO 1000 metric tons. Let's see the internal differences from the 800. Hello everyone. It's been a while. Today, we're tearing down the engine of the CFMOTO 1000 MTX. This engine is actually the KTM 990 Powerplant. While we're at it, let me explain how CFMOTO managed to acquire this 990 engine. The water pump cover is different from the CFMOTO 800 series. Notice this mounting bolt position. This section is more extended compared to the 800. The inspection window is also located right here. The design of the lower crankcase is also different from the 800 series. We can call this the timing chain compartment. The biggest advantage over the 800 or 790 series is that when replacing the timing chain, you don't need to split the entire crankcase. You can pull the timing chain straight out from here. This design is very friendly for mechanics. It's much more convenient to change the timing chain on a KTM 790. You only have two options, either strip the whole engine down or cut the chain to replace it. But cutting and riveting the chain involves high risks. The main concern is a poor connection leading to chain failure. The water pump impeller is the same as the 790. It's made of hard nylon. I bet some owners will want to upgrade it to aluminum. From my experience repairing many of these, let me summarize. As long as the impeller hasn't been improperly tampered with, the failure rate is actually very low. During installation, if you don't align the notch correctly, it will crack as soon as you tighten the bolt. Also, never hammer it, it will crack instantly. Now let's look at the clutch. It's a Japanese FCC unit. The entire body has undergone an anodizing process. It uses the same craftsmanship as the 790. This small central bearing is a Japanese NTN bearing. There's some reflection, but you should be able to see it. The clutch plates are definitely paper-based friction plates, also by FCC. The clutch basket has also been anodized. The oil pump drive gear is different from the 790. It's much larger than the 790's drive gear. Actually, the significance of this engine isn't just that. KTM gave it to CFMOTO. It's that CFMOTO earned it through hard work. KTM took an interest in CFMOTO's 450 cubic centimeters engine. After all, the CFMOTO 450 has performed exceptionally well globally. Abroad, it's known as the Japanese bike killer. Since KTM lacks a small displacement twin-cylinder, the deal was made. KTM provides the 990 to CFMOTO, and CFMOTO provides the 450 engine to KTM. This is a fair trade. I believe this is a historic moment of pride for Chinese-made engines. I hope more domestic engines will be recognized and adopted by international brands in the future. The cylinder head structure is the same as the 790, but the balancer shaft counterweights are different. Owners of the 790 or 800 shouldn't expect to swap in the 990 camshafts. They are not the same. The 990 engine also features dual balancer shafts. One is located above the camshaft, and another is next to the crankshaft. The camshafts are still forged from alloy steel. The quality of these polished parts is top-notch. The exhaust camshaft is also forged alloy steel. The valve train structure, as mentioned, is identical to the 790. It also uses oil jet lubrication. You should be able to see the oil spray nozzles here. It's recommended to warm up the bike for 2 minutes before riding. The finger followers also feature DLC coating. At this stage, you can now replace the timing chain. It can be taken out directly like this. Oh, right. I forgot to include a clip. Let me show you something. This timing chain has been reinforced compared to the 790 series. Look at the width of the chain links. They are very thick. Listen to this, inside the timing chain housing. There are many more reinforcement ribs. The 790 series doesn't have these. After removing the cylinder head, let's check the valves. The valve material is the same as the 790 or 800 series. Look here. This component is the knock sensor. This indicates it definitely has a knock control system. I'll explain the knock control system in more detail later. Check the cylinder manufacturer, it's still Chongqing Jiqing. They have always been the head manufacturer for KTM. The cam chain tensioner is still a hydraulic unit, same as the KTM 790. As for the control system, currently, among domestic bikes, only the CFMOTO 1000 MTX is equipped with this system. This system operates in 4 steps: monitor, identify, intervene, and recover. Everyone understands what that means. It acts like a guardian for the engine, while ensuring safe engine operation. It extracts maximum power and efficiency from the fuel. Furthermore, based on fuel quality, engine wear, and carbon buildup, it automatically adjusts the ignition strategy. So for those worried about carbon deposits, with this system, you don't need to stress over it. In fact, carbon buildup on motorcycles is often optional to clean. It's not always critical. Next, the gear shift mechanism is located right here. On the 790 or 800 series, it's situated under the clutch. For instance, the commonly mentioned shift star or detent arm. The detent arm is right here. Since you've watched this far, please give the video a like. I'm really looking forward to CFMOTO releasing the 950 in K soon. My legs are too short for an ADV. It also comes with an oil cooler. What I'm taking apart now is something that makes me, as an 800 owner, feel a bit jealous. This oil cooler seems to have been optimized. I feel the structure is more rational. Also, this oil pan is completely different from the 800 series. Look at its construction. CFMOTO calls it a semi-dry sump system. Let's look at the oil pump. It looks like this. It is entirely different from the 790 or 800 series, including the overall internal structure of the oil pan. This engine's max power is 83 kilowatts. Max torque is 105 Newton meters, peaking at 6,250 revolutions per minute. From 5,500 to 8,000 revolutions per minute, it can maintain over 90% of its torque output. This power delivery is perfect for ADVs and naked bikes. The ADV is out. So CFMOTO, how much longer for the naked bike? Also, we need to talk about these bolts. For these exposed bolts, each one features a sealing O-ring to prevent oil leaks. So, theoretically, its oil leakage control should be superior to the 790 or 800 series. And look at where the bolt seats, they've added a chamfer for better contact with the seal. I feel like the more I say, the more 800 owners will feel upset. Let's open the crankcase and check the main bearings. It uses Japanese Dato copper-based bearings. The gears are standard, but let's look at the bearings. It uses CNU bearings. When I tore down the 800 MT/S last year, I noticed KTM also started using CNU bearings. Removing the balancer shaft now. It's also forged alloy steel. This balancer shaft, together with the one on the camshaft, forms a dual balancer system. Now removing the connecting rod. Let's check the big end bearings. Also using Japanese Dato copper-based bearings. The rods are crack split connecting rods. Let's look at the crankshaft. It's still a 285-degree crankshaft, forged from alloy steel. The blue tinted areas indicate high-frequency induction hardening. It's also produced by Gangyang in Jiangsu. Now for the pistons. The pistons are still forged units. It's a lightweight design. You can see the piston skirt is designed to be very narrow. The piston crown also has a coating. Based on the color of the piston, it has also undergone anodizing. The oil ring is a single-piece design, but it's much thinner than the 790 or 800 series. This is likely to reduce the friction coefficient. To let everyone clearly see the finish on the piston crown, let me clean it off. A black crown on a new engine is normal. New pistons are coated with oil during assembly, which looks like this after initial firing. The color shows it's a hard anodized finish. Turning over to look at the cylinders. CFMOTO claims they use thermal spray coating. Let me explain this. It's actually called plasma spraying, which, like ceramic coating, is a high-end cylinder liner technology. In automotive engines, it's widely used. In the motorcycle industry, it's used on the later 800 series, this 1000 cubic centimeters, and Great Wall's 8-cylinder engine. Notice there are no crosshatch honing marks. This is one of its major characteristics. It doesn't need honing marks because the sprayed coating forms many microscopic pores. These pores retain oil just like honing marks do, to ensure piston ring lubrication. And here's a unique feature. When the cylinder surface wears down, it actually exposes new oil-retaining pores, so its lubrication retention is very strong. I've heard the plasma spraying equipment is incredibly expensive. Alright, we've basically finished the teardown. Now for some maintenance info for the owners. For oil viscosity, I recommend 10W50. An oil and filter change requires 2.6 liters. I recommend Shell Advance Ultra. If you have a higher budget, you can go for Shell Advance Power. Standard maintenance every 5,000 kilometers. Having torn it down, my impression is that this engine isn't just larger than the 790. Its structure has also been significantly optimized compared to the 790 series. Material quality is similar, which is to say, quite excellent overall. Now I have to return it to them. I need to reassemble the engine. For fellow mechanics, this engine is easy to repair. As long as you can fix a KTM 790, you can fix this. The engine isn't too heavy either. It's a very lightweight design. Alright, getting ready to put it back on the stand. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.